p.m. on Sunday, February 5th, 2017, Jupiter police officers responded to 911 calls of gunshots fired in the 1100 block of Mohawk Street. Officers were directed to the backyard of 1105 Mohawk. 3 victims were located there. Sean Henry, age 26, Brandy Elisale, age 24, and Kelly Doherty, age 20. All 3 had been shot to death. The victims had been socializing in the backyard of the residence where they were killed. Based on the investigation by the Jupiter Police Department, in coordination with the State Attorney's Office, and after examining all the related evidence recovered, probable cause has been established to arrest Christopher Vasata with a date of birth of September 13, 1992, on 3 counts of first-degree murder with a firearm, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm, and a felon in possession of a firearm or ammunition. Vasata is currently being booked into the Palm Beach County Jail. Now let me tell you, this case is still continuing. This investigation is still continuing. As you also know, Mr. Vasata is the individual who was shot and located in the Paseos neighborhood shortly after the triple homicide occurred. Since the incident, Vasata has been recovering in the hospital. The investigation and evidence associated indicate there may have been at least 1 other shooter involved at the scene of the time of the triple homicides. As I said before, this investigation continues to be active and ongoing. We're still urging anyone with information regarding this case to contact the Jupiter Police Department or Crime Stoppers. And we'd like to thank our partners at the FBI, the U.S. Marshal's Office, and the State Attorney's Office for their assistance during this investigation. And as you heard me say from the very beginning, I appreciate everyone's patience as we've navigated through this investigation. I know everybody's been anxious for information, but it wasn't just good enough to make an arrest. We're constantly moving towards a successful prosecution. That means a good partnership with our State Attorney's Office. And as I said before, the way the process works is the police investigate, the police determine the probable cause, the police make the arrest, and now the investigation transitions over to the State Attorney's Office for prosecution. And that's why I've asked Mr. Ehrenberg to be here tonight. Dave, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Thank you, Chief Kitzrow and Major Smith. And I just want to thank the Jupiter Police Department for their excellent investigative work. We've worked closely with them in this matter and will continue to do so. This is a pending matter, so I'm limited to what I can say other than the defendant we expect will be at the Gun Club Courthouse tomorrow morning for his first appearance. This has been a collaborative effort between our office and the Jupiter Police Department, and we want to thank you for your cooperation. And I can say this, that our office intends to prosecute this case to the fullest extent of the law. Our community deserves no less. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also wanted to take a moment and again thank our community members that have been patient with us. I know this can be a little trying on our community. Our neighborhoods are safe. Jupiter continues to be a safe community, and we've had the support of our mayor since the very beginning. And I'd like to introduce our mayor, Todd Wodraska. Todd, would you like to say anything?
Sure. Thanks, Chief. You know, this event happened on the Super Bowl, the evening of the Super Bowl, and ever since then, the one question I get asked is what's going on with the triple homicide. So this is, I guess, good news in light of just a horrible situation. I'm proud of the Jupiter Police Department. I'm real pleased with the work that the State Attorney's Office has helped us with. It's not over. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we are a safe community. Super proud of the Jupiter Police Department, and on behalf of the Town Council, I'd like to thank all of the members of our office police department who worked on the case. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll take just a few questions.
Chief, can you say exactly what happened that night? Do you know yet? What was the motive in the shooting?
We're going to be releasing the probable cause affidavit here shortly, and you'll have all the details, and we'll let that stand on its own merit.
What led you to this particular person?
The facts and investigative leads.
Can you talk about just how long it took to try to talk to this person? Was that one of the reasons why you had not made an arrest?
Well, as I said in the beginning, an investigation of this type, it's very meticulous work. You've got to dot the I's and cross the T's. It's not the speed of the investigation, it's the quality of it. And that's what it took us a while to get to where we are today.
Could you say anything about a second possible shooter? Is that still a possibility, or?
The only thing I can say is we're continuing to investigate all leads. We encourage the public to bring information forward. As a matter of fact, our partners with the FBI in the next few days will probably be announcing a cash reward for any additional information that may come forward. You'll probably see that in the next 48 hours or so, I would think.
How early in the investigation did Vasata become your suspect?
He became a suspect fairly early in the investigation.
Was he a guest at the party, or did he go there with intent to shoot or another motive?
I'm not going to say, I'm not prepared to talk about that.
What is
One
he?
part of the story that's been very confusing that you spoke to while we were in commercial break, so for our viewers who came into this in progress. You arrested Christopher Vasata, and you said that that was the young man who was found at the Paseos community. What about the car that was found on the side of 95? Would that have been driven to that location by his accomplice?
I'm not going to speak about the specific details. Obviously, we're constantly moving towards prosecution, other than to say that we'll be releasing the probable cause affidavit, and we'll let the probable cause affidavit stand on its own merits. So you'll be able to get a lot of those questions answered within the next few hours.
Can we assume that Charlie Vorpagel, in defending himself, was the one that shot Chris Vasata, and that's how he ended up in the hospital and has been there all this time?
I would not assume anything, just as we do not assume anything. We let the facts speak for themselves.
Well, is what I just said part of the facts of the case? Was Christopher Vasata shot in self-defense by Charlie Vorpagel?
I'm going to again say what I said before. We're going to release the probable cause affidavit and stand on the merits of that probable cause affidavit. I'm not going to say anything that's going to compromise our prosecution.
Chief, can you say anything about how the victims may have known the shooter, the alleged shooter?
I can't.
Anything you can say about Charles Vorpagel's cooperation with police after he was arrested by the feds?
I can't.
Has Vasata given you a confession?
I will not talk about that.
We saw Brandy's mother go in earlier. Have you had a chance to talk to the families yet? And if so, how have they reacted to the arrest?
Preliminarily, and I'll be meeting with them again shortly to speak with the families.
And how have they reacted to the arrest, though, during preliminary discussions?
Well, it's a tragic situation. I mean, think about it. If it was your family member as well, I mean, how would you react? It's tragic, it's horrible, it's terrible. You know, I hope the best we could do is just give them a little justice in this. It's not going to ease their pain, but it's the right thing for us to do. So, okay, well, thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You've been listening to Jupiter Police Chief Frank Kitzrow with a big announcement concerning the triple murder in Jupiter on Super Bowl evening. We understand that there is a suspect now in custody, Christopher Vasata, 24-year-old. He was the man, if you remember this case, there was the shooting at the home of this Charles Vorpagel, and then shortly after the shooting and that it was reported to 911, they heard of a car that had crashed a man who had been shot in a nearby neighborhood called Paseos. Turns out this was the one they knew early on had a connection. Now he was in the hospital. Now they've arrested him.
And of the facts that were just given, there could be another shooter out there. A possible cash reward could be coming in the next few days regarding any other shooter or another shooter that took place that may have been on the scene there. Again, the possibility of one more shooter. Again, this active investigation is open and will continue to be open, according to Chief Kitzrow right now. We'll have much more coming up after the break.